Hey, DeRacers. So a couple things we want to talk about, a few important details. I was dark, really dark for about a two and a half week period of time. I had a surgery. I had broken my nose decades ago and I couldn't breathe and I finally fixed. And so I was in this state where I could barely do anything. I was in pain. I was sleeping all day long. I thought I'd be able to be more available, but I wasn't. So Mystery was carrying the load for that whole entire time. So I just wanted to let you all know that I was dark for that reason. No other FUD associated with that. I'm back. I'm healthy. Thanks for those that are checked in with it. But we are back to talk about important issues.
Yeah, and things have been, noticeably quiet, right? It's not just the fact that NotAVampire was gone for a week and a half. Like there's other things that are happening. We had the end of the Dirk Army season, and things have just kind of taken a breather for a minute for the last week or two. And you guys all recognize that. And things are quiet in all the different Discords as we also await news from DeRace on new features that are supposed to be coming out. We're getting to the end of the quarter, and just knowing that there's a lot of stuff that they are promising and that we're expecting to see. And we want to talk to you guys a little bit about, things that we've seen happening, and things that we think are going to need to change over the coming months.
Absolutely. So we're coming up almost on our 1 year anniversary of doing these shows. And just as a reminder to those that don't know the backstory, is we started this show purely because we were frustrated with the project. At the time, it was really hard to get answers for the project. And in the gamer community, we were really frustrated. So we created this show to basically hope to put pressure on DeRace to communicate with us. And it worked wonderfully. We have since built a really good relationship with the team. We are in constant communication with them. They're really good at responding to us. And so we've been trying to take this power that we have been awarded, I guess, to really listen in the community, to try to take the suggestions that we've heard, the challenges that you guys have heard, and we've been trying to present those to DeRace from the gaming perspective. And we got some really important topics that we'd like to address today.
Yeah, I want to make sure it's understood that when you guys drop notes to us, throughout time, not just even recently, we do keep track of those. We have an ongoing list of topics that we sometimes turn into videos. Sometimes we turn them into notes that we need to talk to our team about or talk to the DeRace team about. And we do have access to them periodically. And there's others in the community that have this as well. And some of you know that we've been communicating with you more specifically in the last couple of weeks about issues that you've seen or suggestions that you have for the DeRace team, and we collate those into a large document that is an ongoing thing. So some of those topics we'll go over more in the future as we get responses from DeRace, if they give us responses. But we really do want to reiterate the fact that we started this partly out of frustration, yes, also partly out of just the desire to vent when it came to things that we couldn't figure out with regard to this game. So there were things that we would talk to you guys about, and then we were like, you know what, that'd be a great video, and turning it into content. And obviously you've seen the progression and the evolution of this channel as we've done things over the last year. But we kind of want to bring some of that back up today and remind people that we aren't just shilling a project for the fun of it. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to be fixed and worked on. And we want to continue to bring you guys updates on all those things as we find out about them.
So to start this off, this is, I think, the most important topic that DeRace needs to really listen to. And we've been talking to them about this. And what we're defining it as is what we're calling champion compression. Now, this is going to be a problem in any racing sport, any racing event. So this is not localized to DeRace. So other games out there that are trying to do similar, I'm confident they're going to run into this problem. But to define champion compression, imagine you have 100 horses ranked 1 as the slowest, 100 to the fastest. So right there in the middle, your average population is, let's say, that 50. So now if that number 1 horse that's so slow, it's ranked all the way down there, decides to quit, or that number 2 decides to quit, that average is going to start creeping up and up and up, which makes it harder for the lower half or the lower quarter, lower 10. They're just going to constantly drop off. And as they drop off, the average population pace gets tighter and tighter to the world-class paces of the fastest horses. And what you're probably experiencing right now is that horses that you have traditionally done really well out there are getting pushed hard. You might not be podiuming as much. It's because you are now in the cream of the cream. The fastest horses out there are competing. And this compression makes it very difficult for medium grade horses to have a chance or at all, as well as new players that are entering the game. So this key issue is something that must be resolved. We have suggestions, and that was one of the main things we wanted to bring up as well.
Yeah, you've probably noticed it, and kind of like Vamp said here, what ends up happening when you've got that compression is that the horses that were typically good at the one Dirk races, right? You were just good enough to be able to run there, are now no longer able to run at all, right? So they get pushed off. And then the horses that were previously kind of punching down from the two Dirk races down to the one Dirk races and showing up there realized, well, hey, I can win here, right? So because you've pushed all of them out. So you go back down and only run your ones. The problem is the ones that were previously running threes and twos are now, and I mean Dirk value when I say threes and twos, you now have those horses saying, well, wait a minute, the horses that I was previously beating in those races are down a level. I need to go down a level as well. So they start punching down as well. They're going to, instead of run their threes, they're going to run their twos. And then now we're actually seeing it. And this has all occurred in the last few weeks. You've probably seen it rapidly happening. The top horses that used to run, shoot, some of them used to still run equipped races. They were running three Dirks, and now they're running twos and ones, and they are crushing it everywhere. And when you've got champion horses showing up in the one Dirk races, you've got a problem.
Yep. And there's been a lot of suggestions out there in what we have been doing for like the past week and a half. As I was coming out of surgery, we have been sitting down, getting lots of conversations in place, talking with other major community pillars. We've been talking with Dirk Army. We've been talking with SMR. We've been talking with individuals that have been OGs from the start. We've been really listening to everybody, people that have been frustrated, people that are still extremely happy. Everybody's opinion matters to this. But what we have done is there's some key things that we've heard. There's topics about the intrinsic value or lack thereof of sugar, possibly the oversupply of certain assets right now, which of course the bear markets can also contribute to this. The equipment races not really motivating people to show up. Verification issues. Like there's been a lot of things that we've heard. And what we wanted to make sure that you guys understand is that we have heard those things. We have taken the constructive criticisms. We've heard lots of suggestions. Some of them have been brilliant. Some of them are flawed. And what we have tried to do is essentially we have mapped out, we made a 78-minute video presentation that we gave to DeRace. And then we've created a document where we bullet pointed it, how certain proposed changes and which ones would be connected to it. We try to map this out in a way where it benefits the casual gamer, the hardcore gamer, the hardcore investor. If you have invested heavily into equipment, we've tried to design this concept in a way that it would not hurt you. If you have invested heavily into a stable of champions, we try to design it in a way that wouldn't hurt you. And if you have just a big stable of a bunch of junk, we also try to make it so it wouldn't hurt you. The plan was try to figure out how do you balance this, because it's a really challenging thing to do. And rather than just saying to DeRace, just these are problems, fix it, we were trying to be constructive with this, and we are in conversations with them. And yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
And what we ultimately hope is that, you know, we'll get a response from DeRace on some of these topics. Not all of them are going to have an answer. Like you said, some are just bringing things to their attention. Some are proposed changes or new feature concepts and things like that, suggestions that we've either created or the community has given us to pass along. And as we get a response, we'll do what we've always been doing and hope to continue to do with this show, with this channel, is bring those responses to you guys and make sure that you understand that your voice is being heard, even if it's going through us. So we want to make sure that you know that and know that we'll be bringing responses and or lack thereof to your attention.
Absolutely. The last thing I would want to just add to this one is I know that like some people have said that the beta terminology can be an excuse. I don't necessarily agree. beta is a big thing. They're trying to build a huge platform here. There's a lot of connecting parts. There's a lot of stuff continue to be built on the roadmap. So DeRace, they are very focused on that. I see huge value. We are all early investors in the project. If this project succeeds, we will all win. So the little dirks that we win and lose day to day, that's going to be negligible, hopefully. So as beta testers of the system, not only is our job to find problems, to find bugs, to share with them suggestions how to improve, but the gameplay, the sports that we are evolving, the way that DeRace, or Dirk Army is making events, and then SMR is going to be making events, the way we've made events, all of these things are evolutions of a game that we as beta testers and beta gamers are basically doing it. And I think as we discover these things, it's not flaws necessarily about the platform. It is just discoveries of, hey, this is the game economics that we have found as the gamers, and this is what we are cultivating as a community. And hopefully we can just have that really tight bond with DeRace. And if we can work together through this one, I think DeRace has a really solid roadmap. But I think if they add in some of these things that the community is really asking for, I think we will have a really solid project.